I probably drove up here on the Ducati that I got hit with on excruciating pain. Elbow, probably broken. Leg, definitely broken. My right leg's bent completely sideways. I bawled my eyes out because I was in the worst pain of my entire life. Normal hemoglobin levels of a human, 16. And they go, to get a surgery, you need 11. If you go under 6, you usually die. And they're like, right now you have 5.9. I could have blamed the girl I was seeing. I just wanted the hot Instagram babe and a Ducati. Whatever I've done, whatever karma this is, I accept it. If I'm paralyzed, I'm paralyzed. If I'm gonna die tonight, I'm gonna die tonight.
Welcome to another episode by popular demand. We have Aren Bahia here. My guest today is Aren Bahia, public speaker, entrepreneur, and one of the most recognized faces in the island of Bali. He started in Vancouver gang but moved to Bali, became spiritual, opened lots of conscious businesses, really helps communities here. On September 12, 2021, something terrible happened to him that completely changed his life and changed his perspective on everything. We talk about that today, so please enjoy. I really appreciate your time and coming here. We did an episode with Aren 2 years ago. Aren, my friend, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. Wow, 2 years ago, so much has happened. So we linked, as you were saying, August 2021, and my accident happened September 12th, 2021. So a month before, I probably drove up here on the Ducati that I got hit with on a truck.
Yeah.
The truck hit me. Well, technically, I hit the truck. This guy cut me off. Totally his fault. Totally 100% his fault. CCTV cameras, everything. The state saw that, and it's a whole thing, man. I had to learn how to walk again. I broke both my legs, my pelvis, my elbow, my Achilles, and my bladder. I ruptured my bladder. Doing about 80 on a highway, and this guy pulls out in front of me without looking. 20-year-old kid driving his uncle's work truck. Without looking, cuts across 2 lanes of traffic, just turns into a highway without even looking. Wow. Motherfucker. And I hit this guy, and I just like smashed. I was awake the entire time. Yeah. And bone sticking out of my leg, severed an artery in my leg, almost bled to death. And I was like, thank God for my practice, because the first thing I thought was I got stuck under the truck. Yeah. And I was like, I can't move. Like, I'm trying to pick myself up. Like, after you fall on the bike or something, you get up. First you think, where's my bike? Because I was like, is my bike okay? And I loved my Ducati. And then secondly, I was like, okay, get up. You're under a truck. I'm underneath a truck. Wow. And the guy's trying to, he stalled the truck and he's trying to move the truck, but I'm under the truck. So I'm like, yo, don't move. And he can't hear me. And then all these Balinese people are stopping. It's on a highway. So they're like telling him not to move. And I'm trying to get myself out from the truck, but I can't move. And I realized.
So your leg is stuck.
Leg's stuck. My body won't move. And I'm like, oh no. Fuck. I think I'm paralyzed, and I get dragged from under the truck. Excruciating pain. I'm like, nobody move me again. Driver comes out trying to downplay the situation, like, get up, it's okay. And he tries to move me. I'm like, don't fucking touch me. Like, I can't, don't move me. Wow. I know enough about emergency situations. I wanted to be a firefighter when I was a kid, and did some paramedic training. And it's like, okay, I need to control the situation. Like, you have to, if you're ever in some deep shit, you need to take control of your situation. And you right away, the first thing to take control of any situation is the breath. I needed to tap into the breath. I needed to really make sure I'm not over breathing, because if I'm hyperventilating, I'm going to create way more chaos in my nervous system. I'm going to bleed faster. I'm going to freak out. I need to be in that Navy SEAL shit. So get into that box breathing. And I start telling everybody what to do in Indonesian. So I learned Indo, and I'm like, you get my bike out of the road. You give me the keys to my bike. You take photos of the accident scene. The first person, you call an ambulance. You get my helmet. And my helmet, I thought it just flew off. It actually exploded on impact. Saved my life. Wow. Carbon fiber helmet, AVG, thank God for them. And it exploded on impact. I had cut down my head, minor concussion. And I was like, oh man, like, this is bad. Like, okay, elbow, probably broken. Leg, definitely broken. My right leg's bent completely sideways. I'm like, that one's the worst. Okay, left ankle, probably broken. And then I thought maybe my back was broken because I couldn't move. So I'm taking an inventory of this, and I'm like, not good. Okay. And I'm just trying to keep my shit together. And this Balinese mom comes up. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. God bless you. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is bad. Like, she's freaking out. Like, Evo, you need to chill, right? Yeah. She's, oh my God, sorry. Comes up to me, pulls out of her purse. And this is where I really realized the universe is funny. Like, cosmic humor in a fucked up situation. Yeah. She pulls out one singular Panadol, like an aspirin, one Panadol out of her purse and gives it to me. And I'm like, are you serious right now? You're giving me one aspirin? I have fucking bone sticking out of my leg. Like, I'm dying. Are you serious? I took the aspirin. What else are you gonna do? I'm like, all right, thanks. I take this aspirin. Somebody gives me water. I'm just like, okay. Finally, the ambulance comes, scrapes me off the pavement, excruciating pain. I get into the ambulance, and I just had this moment of like, fuck, I could be paralyzed. Like like I can't move. I could have broken my back here. I could live the rest of my life in a wheelchair, and that hit me. And you'd think you'd super freak out, right? You think you'd super freak out. And the first thing I said first thing I said in the ambulance was, "Do you have morphine?" He's like, "No." He's like, "We're near the hospital." I'm like, fuck, okay. I'm gonna have to muscle this one out. Okay. So I'm in that ambulance, and I look at the ambulance ceiling, and firstly I just said, okay, I get it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, whatever I've done, whatever karma this is, I accept it. I just right away accepted the situation. If I'm paralyzed, I'm paralyzed. If I'm gonna die tonight, I'm gonna die tonight. Like, just accept that right there. And that helped me then take agency of calming my nervous system to be, okay, get through, do this the best you can. Like, there's no point in like fucking freaking out about it. Just do whatever this is the best you possibly can. Wow. So I was okay. Excruciating pain. Calm your breath. Get into the ambulance. Get to the actual emergency room. And I was more like just embarrassed and pissed off that I wrecked my bike. I'm like, man, I just got the Ducati like 4 months ago. Are you serious? I've been riding bikes for like a couple of years before that. Or not even that long, but still, and the kid comes, they put me through the CT scan, extreme pain. I mean, that was really pain. To move me into a CT scan was extreme pain. So I was having a real trauma response. And luckily I've studied enough about trauma that I know, like, you're in a deep trauma response. You need to express breath, sound, and movement. Not a lot of movement in that place. You need to really like let this go. So when they moved me into the CT scan, I had a good cry. That's when I knew. I'm like, you could cry right now. Like, just let it out right now. So as I'm alone in the CT scan, no one else can see me, I fucking bawled my eyes out because I was in the worst pain of my entire life. And I was like, okay. I let that out, and I just felt like, okay, at least you let the tap off of the trauma. Yeah. And I could go back out into where everybody else was. I'm like, okay, what's next? Like, let's go. And it was important that I really realized that there's been many setbacks in this accident process. I had so many crazy things we'll get into, and I always needed to be able to express that trauma. You can't repress it. You need to be able to do it on your own terms. Yeah. Is what I really realized as well. Express yourself. Express what's fucking happening to you, but do it on your terms. Otherwise, the way that it's gonna come out won't be on your terms, and that's unskillful. Okay. You're going to express it all over somebody else, some guy in traffic or some person, it's not their fault, some bank employee, and that's your trauma coming out where it's like, this is not really about this, is it? So I learned that one, right?
Wow. Yeah. So the next day you woke up.
No, I was, so then they're like, they do the CT scan and they go, yeah, you broke both your legs, your tibia, your fibula, and your right leg, you broke in 3 places. You tore your ACL on both knees. You buckled your PCL on your right leg. You broke your left ankle. You ruptured your left Achilles. You've butterfly fractured your pelvis. It wasn't my back broken. My pelvis actually broke like this. So I had a broken pelvis. That was the worst. Can't move. It's super rough. I wouldn't say the worst, but most inconvenient. You fractured your right elbow, compound fracture, right elbow. Minor concussion. Concussion was the least of my worries. Okay. Yeah. Bladder ruptured. I'm like, that sucks, because I took a gas tank to the crotch, man, on my bike, right? So, yeah, that's where it took a lot of impact, right? And so right in the baby maker. And so then I go and okay, they're going to need to do a major trauma orthoscopic surgery. But they're like, we checked your blood levels, and I'm bleeding profusely out of my right leg. It's a lot of blood. And they go, okay, we think you've ruptured, and they looked into it. You've ruptured your perennial artery in your right leg. I'm like, okay. And they're like, okay. To get a surgery, like normal hemoglobin levels of a human, as they rate it here in Indonesia, 16. You and me right now, people listening, you probably got about 16 hemoglobin, whatever the fuck that means. Yeah. And they go, to get a surgery, because of the blood loss you're going to have, you need 11. I'm like, okay. And they go, if you go under 6, you usually die. I'm like, okay. And they're like, right now you have 5.9. I'm like, yo, get me some hemoglobin. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm gonna die right now. They're like, to be consciously told you have so little blood, you could die right now. Wow. Is a crazy thing to be told. You're like, get me blood, yo. So they're like packing 15 blood transfusions into me, ramming blood into me, right? Get me to the surgery, level to surgery. And they said it was going to be about, by now, all my friends and family have heard about what happened, right? It was about an 8-hour wait to get into surgery to get enough blood in me so I don't die.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, people are checking in on me. I'm in extreme pain. They give me a lot of fentanyl, which I used to be addicted to while I was a drug dealer in Canada. So that was an interesting loop when they're like, we need to give you pain. I'm like, give me painkillers. And then they pull out this bag of fentanyl. And I'm like, okay, cosmic joke number 2. You're back on the drugs that you were addicted to.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. This is not an accident. All this is happening. Yeah. All right, so give me the fentanyl. I'm not saying no to this. There's bones sticking out my leg. So we go and finally get into surgery, and they said it was going to be a 4 to 5 hour surgery.
Wow.
I tell my friends that, so everyone's praying for me. They had a big prayer group and meditation. Everybody's sending me their prayers. I'm like, that's really sweet. It was really hard to receive that because my buddy Dave, posted it, went viral, and it was so many, hundreds and hundreds of people are messaging me, praying for me, Instagram stories.
That's how I found about it.
Yeah. It was very overwhelming to actually see that. My friends took away my phone because I was like, well, this is intense. They're like, you should not be on your phone right now. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's crazy. And it was on Instagram, and I was following a lot of motorcycle pages at the time, and I'd see a motorcycle post pop up, and it actually gave me a trauma response. So I was like, okay, this is a lot for me. I just need to not have a phone.
Yeah.
So I get rid of that. I go into surgery, and my friends were, being kept tabs on me, and 4 hours go by, and I'm not out yet. And then 5 hours go by, I'm not out yet. 6 hours go by, my friends are trying to worry. They're like, hey, what's going on? Give us some update. Call the hospital. They're like, he's not out yet. It's still going. It's a lot. There's a team of 10 surgeons working on me. So there's a lot going on, right? So my friends start freaking out. And then 7 hours go by. I'm not out yet. Okay. 8 hours go by. My friends are everybody's like, did he die in the hospital bed, right? So my friend Brian Kelly drives from Uluwatu to the Siloam Hospital in Kuta in a rainstorm by himself, middle of the night, rips down there, scared shitless, what happened, right? Demanding answers. We need to know if he's okay or not. There's hundreds of people waiting to hear if I'm okay or not.
Yeah.
Gets to the hospital, still not out yet. So he falls asleep on the floor. Finally, 10 hours later, 10 or 11 hours, they're like, okay, we finished the surgery. It took a lot of work. The surgeons come out exhausted. They'd spent 10 hours in surgery on me, right? One shot, 10 hours just working on my body, putting metal in place, closing severed arteries, staple stitching. I had crazy wounds, right?
Yeah.
So I come out of surgery, and I guess I was in this cold surgical room for 10 hours. My body temperature was so low. So when I came to, I just suddenly came to in a hallway. I'm fucking alone in a hallway and my body starts going into shock. I'm in extreme pain. I wake up in extreme pain, and I'm going in shock because I'm so cold. So I'm shivering and shaking with all this new metal and wounds in my body. So instantly I'm and freaking out. I'm like, this is intense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, give him a blanket, give him fentanyl. Give me this huge syringe, and it was this wide, seriously, like a hot dog.
Yeah.
Jammed that into me, and instantly I'm like, oh, okay. This still sucks, but it's a little bit better now.
Yeah.
And my friends come up to me and they're like, you almost died. And I'm just like, damn, okay, all right. So then the kid, I forgot to mention, before I got into surgery, the kid who hit me, or whose accident, his fault, he comes in. He's a little street punk from another island. He's in a little street gang, right? Little shitty tattoos. And, he comes in with 2 of his buddies. So 3 little street punks, 20-year-old, 19-year-old kids come in. And he goes in Indonesian. And he's speaking Javanese dialect. So it's a little bit harder to understand for me. And my Indo's pretty good, but he's saying words I didn't totally understand, but I got the gist of it. And what he's saying was, they took my uncle's truck. We need to settle this between us so I can get my truck back. And I'm like, what? And I have a neck brace on. I can't move. I'm in my boxers. I'm naked with boxers on, bleeding profusely. Yeah. And all I knew how to say in that moment, because I don't know how to say go fuck yourself in Indonesian. I don't know how to speak rude. I learned how to speak kind of properly. So all I could say was, this is a time you should be being polite right now, and you're not being polite right now. That's all I knew how to say, but I said it with such ferocity, and he looked at me, and then he looked at me up and down, and I'm fully tatted, and saying this to him, he's like, okay, you're right, I'm so sorry. I'm like, fucking get the fuck out of here. You don't gotta, okay, go. And so that was a crazy moment that actually happened. And so I spent 17 days in the hospital, had 5 surgeries. Right, it was crazy. That time was a weird time warp of, I didn't see the sun for 17 days. I couldn't move. I thought I was this entrepreneur Bali boss. I couldn't take a shit by myself. It was like giving birth because your pelvis is broken. It was intense. I'm getting wiped by a team of 4 nurses, and just cosmic joke. I'm sitting there before that, driving my Ducati around Bali and filming content and I'm thinking I'm cool, and now I'm getting my ass wiped by 4 little Balinese nurses, this is like a pretty funny situation. I actually like just cosmic jokes left and right during this whole situation.
I think there was an Instagram post before that. That was you in a suit. In a bike.
Yeah. I had just finished filming content and I was in a suit and I got on my Ducati and I was like, oh, look at this, it's a good photo op. I'm in a suit on my Ducati in Bali, haha. And the next day I get hit by a truck. It's like, okay, wow. Definitely got life slapped by the universe. Very interesting, very humbling process. Very, very humbling. And there's one moment, and I was in the ICU, which is the most hectic place, really. Oh my God, there was like 10 other people almost dying in one room. So much screaming and crying and beeping, and just like there's this guy directly across from me, like say how you and me are across from each other, but maybe he was about 10 meters down on the other bed, and I'm directly across from him, and he had this tube down his throat, and every like 2 or 3 minutes, just when you forget about it would go.
Yeah, wow.
And you're just like, oh, fuck, man. Like, it's just the worst, right? So that was like, oh my God, I hope he's okay, but I just don't want him to do that anymore. It was really bad. So finally I get my own room. And I'm in my own room, and I'm just like, oh my God, you really realize the pleasure of quiet and being alone. Like, really, you realize a lot during a process like this, almost dying and being, paralyzed for a while. You really realize how much the simple things matter. I was really grateful for that. So finally, my own room is quiet. Oh my God, finally, like I'm all fucked up, but at least I can be out of that situation. This is so much better. Okay, great. And this nurse comes in, Balinese big guy, a male nurse named G'day. He's a big dude, biggest Balinese nurse I've ever seen, biggest Balinese guy I've ever seen, right? Comes in pushing a cart, and it's like a hot water, soapy water, clean water, kind of like a bath cart, right? And he goes, excuse me, sir. Hello, excuse me, sir. Very shy guy. I just want to know, like, is it okay? I'm supposed to wash you. I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh my God, please, G'day. I have still blood in my hair, gravel. I'm so dirty. I'm like, I would love to be clean. I feel so gross still, right? Yeah. Okay, sir, no problem. And he goes, sir, I just need to ask. I'm sorry, sir. You have a catheter in your penis? And I was like, oh, son of a bitch, I do. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a tube in my dick. He's like, I need to clean it to make sure there's no infection. Is that okay with you? And I'm like, yeah, like, is that okay with you? Like, I don't want an infected penis. He's like, yeah, no, it's my job. It's totally fine for me. It's okay for you? And I'm like, yeah, let's do this, G'day. Let's wash my penis. So I pull my dick out, and he looks at it, and he looks at me, and he goes, sir, I just need to ask, is it normally this big or is it swollen? We're like crying, laughing, right? Because I say, G'day, I wish it was that big. It's definitely swollen. So we're like, oh, like crying, laughing. Just then a doctor walks in. Me and G'day are laughing with my dick out. And he's like, what the hell? We laugh even harder. Yeah. So it's like funny moments, like legitimately funny moments in a fucked up situation. And those got me through it. Like, you have to be able to find the funny in the trauma, because life is funny. Even if it's really hard, there is a sense of humor that you can find into that makes it easier. So you stop taking everything so damn seriously.
But it's feels like such a big humbling moment when you are like this influencer, everybody knows you're like driving this expensive bike, you're wearing expensive clothes, you have Istana, we talked about all your journey, and here you are in a Bali, in the dirt, going to a Balinese hospital, and just like...
Dude, when I got first into that hospital and they're wheeling me into the room where they have the CT scan, and all I could see was the ceiling, because I'm looking straight up at the ceiling. So all I remember, as soon as I got in there, and I'm conscious during the whole thing, there's this big patches of like fucked up mold on the ceiling. Like the ceiling's all fucked up, like classic Bali, Bali ceiling. And I just looked and I was like, oh, I wish I was in a better hospital. Oh, come on. Damn. And this is the best hospital in the area. It's the best hospital in Bali. And I'm just like, nah, I wish I was in a better hospital. There's mold in the CT room. This is bullshit. So... I have to go through, a lot during this time, and, my friends are coming to visit. I'm deeply in a trauma space, but I'm just trying to make the best of it. I just know, okay, just get out of this ICU room. Okay. Just get to the next surgery. Okay. Just get to the next surgery. Okay. In a couple more days, they'll be able to check my bladder. I'll get the catheter out. Okay, that's going to be great. So then they do that day, and they're like, okay, we're going to take you down. We're going to pump a fluid up the catheter into your bladder to make sure it doesn't leak. I'm like, that sounds horrible. They're like, it's not fun. I'm like, okay. So they give me a bunch of morphine beforehand, and I'm already on like a fentanyl drip and all this, right? And then they wheel me down to the CT room, and I'm in the surgery operating theater again for like the third or fourth time in 11 days. And they're like, you again? And I'm like, I say in Indonesian, I'm like, oh, I just missed you guys. I like it here.
Yeah.
And they all crack up laughing, right? Like, okay, that's funny. So they get me into this, and it's a little bit easier for me to get onto the bed now, but still very difficult to move. And they go, okay, we're gonna begin the procedure, but first we're gonna give you some things for the pain. This could be uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So they bring out 2 syringes. One is bright orange and one is clear. And they're like, okay, this is ketamine and this is fentanyl. And I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? You guys give me ketamine and fentanyl right now? They're like,
wow.
Yeah, this will help. I'm like, I guess this is happening. It's like 6 a.m, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So they jab me full these 2, and instantly I'm like, whoa, like instantly like into a deep ketamine journey. I was like, okay. And they're like, okay, we're gonna pump it through now. I'm like, okay, like tripping balls, right?
Yeah.
Start pumping this catheter bag, full up my dick hole and like filling my bladder up. And then they're like, look, and they show me a screen where they can see my bladder, like a X-ray thing, right? And they're like, look, it's holding the fluid, like your bladder's okay. And I look, and it's just melting. This whole screen's just melting. I couldn't see shit, bro. I'm like, oh, great. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And then it was the most uncomfortable long pee ever after to like get the fluid out. It took me about 40 minutes to like get it out because it was really hard to control my bladder again.
Yeah.
So that was like giving birth. It was the most like satisfying and painful pee I've ever had in my whole life.
I had appendicitis surgery, and they also, I mean,
Yeah.
nothing like you. I'm not comparing us, but I can relate, because at one point,
Yeah.
like, you need to sort of pee, and they like, if you don't pee, we're just gonna put something in your dick, and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna pee.
I'm gonna pee. Yeah.
And it was like the longest night. I would go every like 5 minutes, like, please work. And when it worked, I was like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Catheter journeys are weird ones.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling. Yeah. So when I finally got out of the hospital, 17 days later, the bill at the hospital was 340 million rupiah, right? Thank God I had insurance. It covered about 300. So it was, it's still a bit in the hole from that one. And we get, and my taxi driver, who was like my personal driver, a good buddy of mine, he gets me a wheelchair to the car, and he has to pick me up and put me in the car. Like it's the hardest thing. I could barely lift myself, because if you don't move at all for 17 days, your muscles atrophy. I shrunk while I was in there, right? So I was pretty stacked before I got in. I was training heavily, and so I was in way better shape. And then I just shrunk. I lost like 17 pounds in 17 days. And get me into the taxi, and we're driving back to my place in Uluwatu, and a motorcycle drives by, and I instantly had a trauma response.
Really?
My body started shaking, and I was like, okay, interesting. There is clearly, obviously trauma in this situation, and I'm gonna need to face that and go to it if I'm ever gonna be able to like be all right and heal properly. I just know that's alive and present. If that is something I feel anxiety about, I have to check that. You can't just suppress that. You got to deal with it. So if you guys are listening and you have anything that, makes you feel a certain way, and you're like, oh, I just don't do that anymore. Or like, I don't want to deal with that. We don't talk about that around here. This kind of shit, you got to face it, because that's just going to eat you alive and get worse. And then, like I said earlier, it'll come out in ways that you don't expect. You'll yell at your partner, or you'll flip out at people in traffic, or, you can't get your dick hard, or whatever, like in those types of ways. It's going to come up, and it's going to be there. So you need to meet it. And the best way to meet it is with love. Okay. It's so important. So I knew I'm in a very difficult spot right now. I'm handicapped. I can't get by. I can't even get out of bed alone. I can't get off the toilet alone. I broke my elbow too. I can't move myself. I can't prop myself up. So my friends have to pick me up off the toilet and put me in my wheelchair, or pick me up out of my wheelchair, put me to bed. I'm getting put to bed by my friends right now. So it's like, I have to call them and be like, hey, I'm done on the toilet. And it's really very, very humbling. I'm taking showers out of a sink. Like, it's bullshit, So I'm like, this is a whole thing that I'm gonna have to really deal with love. So I had to have immense compassion for myself, and this is where I really leveled up through this whole situation. Was I got into a deeper space of self-love. I got into a deeper space of care for myself, and appreciation for my friends, and appreciation for the little wins when I was able to like do a little bit different, a little bit more, or get, like a little bit more. So I did a home vipassana out of a wheelchair at my house. I did a lot of hypnotherapy. I did breathwork journeys. I did counseling. I did energetic healing. I did Reiki. I did physiotherapy like crazy. I did acupuncture. I did like everything I possibly could. I went balls deep on it. Really, I wanted to heal very, very badly.
What is very interesting to me, and probably to many, when you're in a situation like that, the easiest is to give up.
Oh yeah.
To say, why me? It's such an unfair life.
Yeah.
Like, why would I get in the situation? What if, like, and then I would like look at the situation, like, what if I didn't jump on a bike? What if I don't know, go 5 minutes later?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I could have blamed the girl I was seeing. It was funny. I was dating this like kind of Instagram model, but like she had OnlyFans. It was like not the relationship that was aligned to me. I was bored, honestly. It was Corona time. My businesses took a huge crash. The island was really slow. It was a weird time. And for some reason, this underbelly of my ego came out again, where I was like, okay, I went through this big spiritual transformation, but somehow during the destabilization of what was happening in the world and with my businesses, my identity reverted back to wanting flashy things and like women that weren't in my highest alignment.
Okay.
And I just wanted like the hot Instagram babe and a Ducati. That's where I found myself again. It's like, we're never actually totally fixed. We go through seasons and waves, and then we check ourselves. And this was another way I got caught slipping. I just went back into just like an old pattern. I got fit back into an old loop once the progress of the guy that I was becoming kind of like stopped because of this, global situation. Is weird where it took me. So like, fuck, I was at her house, and we had dinner at my like adopted uncle Jaip's place. He had a dinner party, and I brought her as my date, and then we went back to her place, and it had been kind of rocky between her and I. Obviously, it was an unstable relationship. It wasn't really like she wasn't my girlfriend or anything, but we're seeing each other, and we had just slept together, and I figured it was like midnight, and I was gonna stay over there. And she goes, well, actually, I have a photo shoot at I have to get up at 5 a.m. So if you want, you can sleep downstairs, but like, I don't want to have us in the bed together. Like, I want to sleep alone. And I was like, well, that's weird. Like, I'll just go home. Like, it's like a 30-minute drive, 20-minute drive, I had been driving home from her house more and more. So I knew the road, and I was kind of like time trialing it so I could get really way faster. But it was raining a little bit. So I was like, okay, no time trial today. Just take it easy. So I wasn't even speeding, but I remember getting on the bike, leaving her place. And I was kind of like, man, if we should be together, I wouldn't have kind of like had to get kicked out. Like, she'd let me sleep over kind of thing, and I'd just get up at 5 with her. Like, that's a weird thing to kind of like be like, you can sleep downstairs. Like, I felt off about it, right? And so then I got in the accident. I called her, and she came to the hospital and like took care of me, and she was taking care of me a lot during the hospital. Obviously, it didn't work out between her and I. It was not a good relationship, but I could have like had like this almost a little bit of blame, like, you could have, this is your fault kind of thing. And I just instantly caught myself in that, where I was like, no, this is you. This is whatever your past karma is. You used to be a drug dealer. There's probably some of that coming up. Like, whatever it is, you deserve this. This is not at all a why you situation. This is you're getting what's coming for you situation. So you better repent and shift your mindset to just take it, because there's no fucking use in the blame game. There's zero. The only thing that actually works is accountability and action.
So you're in a lot of pain. You're physical pain, emotional pain. When you're sleeping, you're like, shit, I can't handle it anymore.
Oh man, the sleep was crazy because my body would twitch. So when my nervous system was trying to relax, I had this trauma thing. Before I could actually sleep, my body would jolt.
Wow. And
it happened a lot at the start, and only now, about 5, 6, 7 months ago, because it's been almost 2 years now, it's been about 20 months now or something like that, that it stopped. Because I would shake, and it took a lot of rewiring my nervous system for that to stop. So sleep was not easy. I've been on sleeping pills since the accident. It was difficult. Now I'm weaning way down, right? But sleep was a difficult thing. That's when you actually heal and repair. So you need your sleep. But to get into the right mindset, people like my friends told me, because I'm around a bunch of like epic, high performing, personal development dudes. My friends at Yogi Lab down at the Astana, like they're superhumans. So they're all like, this is gonna be one of the best things that ever happened to you. This is gonna help shift you. You got to use this for power. Like, use this is gonna be one of the best things that ever happened to you. And when you're fucking handicapped in a wheelchair, you're like, yeah, fucking right. Like, you don't, it's hard.
You try that.
You say that at this moment, but they were right, because it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to me. But at the time, when you're in the trauma, it's really difficult for someone to actually see like outside of the trauma. So when you say like, this could be how you handle this, this will be great for you, it's difficult to integrate that, right? But the thing that I kept saying to myself when I was in the accident, like when it first happened, and I knew that all these eyes were on me, the first thing that came up to me was, don't be a bitch. Like, I was just like, seriously, like, handle this like a boss. Because if you handle this like a whiny little bitch, like, you'll never forgive yourself. Like, handle this in a way that you're going to be proud of yourself. Later, you'll look back on it and be proud how you handle this. So do that. That's the first thing I told myself. Just act in a manner you'll be proud. And then secondly was, how you handle this is going to say a lot about you too. So show yourself that you're about it. Like, you can handle this well. And thirdly is you trained for this. You have in all your life experiences, you know, being a black belt martial artist, you know, going in the dope game, you know, in being a yogi, you know, meditation trainings, breathwork trainings, all this, you've trained for it. You have skills to deal with this better. So deal with it better. So, okay. You're a coach. You can coach yourself through this. So I had to actually become my own coach during this situation, but also get help. So I started really relying on, you know, my own skills, but also my friends coming. Like, I had a lot of calls with my friends internationally. I had friends come through visit me. Like, I got help, and that started helping me get the right mindset. Where I was like, okay, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, and then throughout that, it was when I started walking again about 4 months into it. I couldn't really walk. I was on 2 crutches, but I started being able to get out of the wheelchair and hobble around on these crutches. Yeah. And they put a pin in my right tibia, tibia, but it's supposed to be a nail, but they didn't have one my size. So they didn't have the part that's the right size for me because I'm a lot larger than most Indonesians. So they put the wrong piece in, and that snapped. So my leg re-broke on New Year's Day. Man, it was just like 8 more months of recovery. And the doctor said, yeah, we'll have to redo the surgery. They don't have the pin still, so we'll have to put in. They don't have the nail, so we have to do another plate. And like you bent it. You're putting too much weight on it. I was trying to recover fast, right? So I was trying to do all the exercises. I was doing everything I could. I was putting weight on it. I was trying to walk again. You know, I pushed it too hard. I was already healing really rapidly, and I pushed it too fast. I tried to muscle my way through it. And it was another slap. So 8 more months is what they said. And that was heartbreaking because the doctor said also your right leg now might be shorter than your left leg. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? He's like, we'll be able to measure later if that's a thing, but you might have a little bit of a shorter leg. I'm like, no one wants to hear that. That's a very bad news. That's hard news to integrate. Yes. So when he left the room, I fucking screamed. I had like a good proper like moment, and I felt better after. I was like, okay, you had your moment. Now get back to action. Do what you got to do. Like figure out the next action steps. So that's again, it showed me express your emotions and then get to work. Don't let them simmer underneath because then you can't get to work.
That seemed like a very good lesson.
Yeah.
It seemed like because I don't express emotions well. And for me, I'm like, as soon as I express it, it goes away.
Yes.
But what we do typically is like, oh, I'm uncomfortable to scream here because people are watching me, blah, blah, blah. And then you don't do it. Yeah. And then it becomes much, much worse.
Well, I don't want to cry and scream in front of people either. Like, that's just, I don't like that. I find it like intrusive for their experience. Like, that's invasive for them. I don't want to inconvenience people, you know, like I think that way too. So I would go to the bathroom or when I was alone, or, you know, like as soon as when I could express it, or in the CT scan, I'm alone. When I had those moments, I would let it go, scream into a pillow, like do what you got to do, let it out, and then get to work. Then right away, or take a nap first, and then right away, what's the next most intelligent step you can do to handle this like a boss?
Yeah. Let me ask you something. You are Aren Bahia, so I know what people are listening, they will have this sort of concern. So I'll voice it. They'll be like, well, this is Aren. He has lots of friends. He has some money. He has everything around him to make him heal. But I'm, let's say, a lonely guy who will get into accident or have this deep trauma, and I have nobody. And I understand it's easier for him, but I don't know what to do. So if somebody would tell you that, which I know a lot of people might be thinking about knowing your story, what would you tell them?
I mean, if I didn't have any friends throughout this, it would definitely be harder, but we have the internet. We have books. We have the ability to access brilliant minds that are dead now, that we don't know, that are on the other side of the planet, that have no idea we exist. Yeah. We have the ability to know them intimately by studying their books and what they've written with as much intensity as we want. So that I read a lot of books during this process. I read books I always wanted to read while I was in the hospital, like Shantaram, that huge book. Okay. I never would have had time to read that. So I just got myself into reading and studying more than I ever thought I would, because I had time, and that really helped. Was like, hey, you can meet people that you don't get to talk to. Like, you can read these books that will help you through the situation. So that's the number one thing. Firstly is there's knowledge out there. So study, and that'll keep your mind activated. Learning is a really good antidote for depression. especially learning about mindfulness, about pain recovery, about your body, about healing, like this is your chance to actually just double down on how to healing yourself. And then you have skills that you can heal others from after. Because that's all this coaching and development work often is people who have deeply been hurt and traumatized and that have healed themselves. They can now help others. Yeah. That's the name of the game. If there's coaches out there who, you know, haven't really been through some trauma and now they like coach and help heal other people, yeah, I mean, cool, but it's not the same thing. You know, I'm not going to be wanting to learn from somebody who had a cookie cutter life. Like that's just not me, right? For sure. So I it's important to suffer because you'll be able to use it. So if you're suffering alone at home with nothing, know that this can be a big gift. Like it really can be, because you getting through this and getting through it well as best as you possibly can will be immeasurable life experience. So it could be a damn good blessing, right? Secondly, it's like, okay, if you don't have much money, I mean, I was at the poorest I'd been in a very long time during Corona. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was hard. So my ego was really, really fucked, right? Yeah. It was really difficult. And so, you know, and I was in a third world country where it happened. So it was just like, your healthcare is a C-. For sure. You know, it's not good healthcare. Thank God they saved my life. So God bless them at Siloam. But yeah, to be in a space where, you know, you might think, you'd have it worse off. It's really up to us to make it. Like it really is. So it's not like I had things really handed to me, but thank God I did have great friends. Like my friends really rallied and took care of me. So all you need is a couple good friends.
Yeah. And I think what I really appreciate about you.
Sorry, 1 second. Yes. I want to add to that thing.
Yeah.
My friends kept saying this to me, and the reason why I was so well taken care of, and this is their words, not mine, is because I've taken care of them so well. Yeah. So you get what you give, and people remember how you make them feel. So I had a lineup. Actually, like there was a WhatsApp group. We had to organize who could come and see me and take care of me, because there's so many people who wanted to just come and stay with me and take care of me. And I had to like actually batch them and like Calendly link it almost, you know, because that's how many people I would always be wanting to help. So being there to help other people when shit goes down, it matters, because that's who comes and helps you. So like actually selflessly giving, sometimes that could have a really big benefit if, God forbid, something does happen. If no one comes to your side, and it's kind of like if no one comes to your birthday party and you're like, oh, no one likes me. It's like, well, what are you doing to be liked? Yeah. Really, right? You know, like if you're wondering why no one is there for you, is it because you're not there for anyone else? For sure. So that's one thing I wanted to add to that.
I 100% agree with you. And what I really appreciate about your journey, that you also shared it. So I know it's hard to share all those pictures of your leg and what happening. You shared the video of this actually happening. And to me, that was amazing, because people who are struggling, they see that you're open. They see that you're there, you're an open book, and you're ready to share your trauma. And definitely helped me a lot. And when I was talking to random people who I didn't even know knew you, there was a big story in Bali. So everybody was like, yeah, don't go on a bike too fast, because there was this guy who got into an accident. And I was like, wow, nice. So your story and your sharing is teaching other people to be more conscious, which I think is most of the things you do is about consciousness, elevating the consciousness. And even with this story, you sharing elevated it a lot. So that's kudos to you for that. I think you deal with that amazingly well.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. So you tried a lot of things. You said Reiki and massages and therapies, everything. So if you would prioritize and rank them to say, like, what helped you the most to deal with your pain and recovery, what were some of those that helped you the most?
Definitely physiotherapy was really important to like consistently move my body, not even just, obviously for the actual plasticity of my body, and also mentally to know that I was doing something. And like I would have people come and visit, they would come to my house and do physio, because I obviously couldn't move. So people were coming to me, and that was really important for my mental health, and really important for them to like have positive people that were helping me, that would be like, look, hey, your range is getting better, you are improving. So mentally to really note your improvement and celebrate every fucking win you possibly can, that is very important. Like that is almost more important than so many of the other things, for you to note that you're getting better, to see that you're doing something that is working, and to celebrate it's working is really important for your mindset and mental health, to know that you're winning at something. Yeah. Right. So if you don't think you're winning and you hit a huge setback and it's just not getting any better, I can see that's when people will like, you know, because I had that, because I still can't move my right big toe or dorsiflexion my right foot upwards. I'm waiting for another surgery. I got 2 more to go. Wow. And that when I would see it's not moving at all, it was really depressing, and it would get my spirits low. I would have moments where I'd just break down crying. I'm like, my foot's gonna be fucked forever, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's not. It will fix. Don't think that. And now look at this. Look, you can do this now. Like all this, these other things are helping. And so I had to make sure I'd focus on the positives and celebrate the wins and visualize myself moving. That was important. I did do testosterone and HGH and peptides. I was like, give me everything. I don't care. I'll do everything right now. I want to walk again. I don't care. I would do it. And that was really important because I saw myself getting stronger quicker. And so it's like, if you have access to, performance enhancing drugs in this situation, I fully support you on that. Hell yeah, do it, man. Do all of them. Do everything, because this is the difference between your body not getting the muscle that you need to actually like walk properly again quickly, and then you might have dysfunction, walk funny the rest of your life, which I won't walk totally proper the rest of my life, but I could have been way worse if I didn't get strong quickly enough before my muscles atrophied and my body got weird and didn't take. So that was important. I did that. Diet. I learned how to cook, actually. I was home a lot, so I learned how to make like bone broth and ramen and steaks, and just like I was home, my friends would come visit me, I'd cook for them in a wheelchair. Yeah. And that was fun to have that. Like, it was important to have friends come so you can jam with them, and that was another important thing out of all those processes, was positive people around me. I needed to have those, right? So I'd prioritize that, would be celebrating the wins and doing things where you can mark the wins. Take all the supplements you can, even the ones that you're like, oh, I don't know about this. It's like, hey, there's a time and a place where you gotta do it. Just like the painkillers. It's like, man, I was addicted to opiates. I don't want to do opiates again. But in this case, and I had way more control over this. Like, it was, it was doctor given, prescribed, and control, and it was a need. So there wasn't this addictive element over it. I wasn't taking it to get high. I was taking it so I wouldn't be in excruciating pain. Okay, so take what you got to do. Do what you got to do is another thing. That was a big part of that. And then having the right people in your corner, like beautiful, positive people. Yeah.
So after 18 months of recovery, you wrote on Instagram, the accident was a spiritual initiation to a new level of me. I'm so happy it happened. Turns out almost dying was one of the best things to ever happen to me. A new level of you. How does that look like?
I feel a lot more centered and grounded. I feel a lot more grateful for my life. I feel less scared of stuff because I just know what I'm capable of. Like, I could bounce back through that. And I know that I know now that under extremely deep suffering is bliss. Like, there's a lot of power in suffering. So if you suffer and then you use it, it gets integrated as power. There's kinetic energy in the suffering. So you can be in pain, and it's just pain now. You just know that, hey, look, how I take this is up to me. And you're just scared of less. And so I found that was actually a big upgrade, but it also brought me way deeper to God. I actually really saw the spiritual significance of what happened to me. And I saw and it brought me back to a deeper connection with faith. And I was like, wow, okay, there is something deeper out there. And this wasn't random. Like, it brought me back to Vancouver. I was supposed to go back just for my cousin's wedding, surprise my family. And another thing on this journey was a big self-love journey. So I got a deeper layer of self-love through all this. And when I got to Vancouver, I was training for that because I wanted to surprise him. It was my cousin's wedding, and I had tickets booked before the accident. And I told my family I can't make it. Like, a few months ago, my doctor's like, nah, you shouldn't fly. You get a blood clot so easily, and it'll go up to your heart. You'll die. So I'm like, okay, like, good info. And I told this spiritual counselor I was seeing, she was helping me get through the accident, unraveling trauma and this and that. I told her about that. I want to go surprise my family. I want to do everything I can to train to be better, to go do that. And I want to show them how much I love them. And she goes, okay, so you're willing to grind this out, do everything you need to be doing, train extremely hard and a lot of work into that to show your family how much you love them. What about showing you how much you love you? And it hit me like a ton of instant. I was like, fucking crying my eyes out. It was so hard to receive that. Like, why wouldn't I do this to love myself? So that was really hard. It's challenging, we do so much for others. But when it comes down to do you love you, to do this for you, man.
That's beautiful.
So many of us hear that, and I bet every one of you hearing that, you're like, oh, that hits you right in the heart. You're like, fucking seriously? Oh, really? Yeah, of course. We don't do that. We don't double down on self-love, right? So I was like, okay, you're right. I'm going to do this for me too. So I trained my ass off, and I flew across the world handicap in business class. I used all my points for business class, and it was awesome. And I was on 2 crutches, and I surprised my family, and that was really sweet. And then go to my cousin's wedding, and I was back in Vancouver, And it was the first time in my life I was back in Vancouver and I was okay with it, because before it was like, oh man, my friends are still drug dealers, and I grew up with them, and just this area is toxic for me, and it just felt really like I can't with this place. It's just a ticking time bomb for me, And when I was there, I was just in a space. I had the intention when I was going there, I want to show them how much I love them. I want to be there, a force of pure love. And they're okay. So when I went there, everything changed for me. My intention of love shifted Vancouver for me. And I saw now actually I could be at service to Vancouver, because I've been out here learning and growing and studying myself for so long that I can go back there and help people. And it changed the whole thing for me. And then the universe responded. I had like 2 businesses fall into my lap while I was there. I had a surgery, a girlfriend, all this stuff happened. And it was like, wow, really, like Vancouver opened up for me. And all these amazing opportunities in 10 months, so much happened in Vancouver that like really was life-changing, that I was like, okay, I saw it was significant for me to go through the accident, for me to come back. I never thought I'd go back to Vancouver, to go back and serve my community. I could see that. Wow, okay. It's just like the dope game, supply and demand. I got supply of a deeper sense of love and awareness from Bali life that I can bring it to. The demand in Vancouver is people want somebody that's heart-centered, because it's not uncommon for someone to look like me, come from where I'm from, to actually want to lead with the heart there. And that's a big supply and demand there. I can actually help. I'm needed. And that's what my friend said to me. He came up to me and he goes, don't go back to Bali. Can you live here now? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. Why? He's like, we need you. I need you. We need you. The city needs you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really sweet to hear. Like, that really struck me. I was like, wow, I'm actually needed somewhere.
But that's true. I mean, the level of consciousness in Bali is pretty high. Everybody is like a yoga teacher, meditation teacher, taking mushrooms. Everything is happening, especially in Ubud. In Vancouver, something that is missing. So you coming from all this journey, going there, and increasing level of consciousness of this beautiful place that I love. I think that's very important.
I think everybody listening, actually one of the coolest things that you guys could do actively is, when I learned this, and if you've never done a Vipassana meditation retreat, the teaching of metta meditation, where it's the practice of love and kindness, and you're just walking around beaming love and kindness. And that was my like actual intention of going back to my family. I just wanted to love them. And it made my experience of life way cooler. Like really awesome shit happens to me a lot, because when I get into that like frequency, and I would just be walking down the street in Vancouver and I'd just be like shining love. I just want to love people, and I'd just be in that frequency of love, and everything goes better for me. Everything, the sun shines better, the clouds are nice, trees are nicer, just like everything's okay. That is something that's an active practice in all of our reach. Instead of going through the world and walking down the street and being like, fuck, I don't have this, oh, that car is nicer than my car, I'd just be walking by and just be like, oh, God bless you, like just walk, and just I'd bless people silently without them even knowing, and it would bless me back. And I think this is like a dope practice for us to mess with, really.
Beautiful. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the ego, because I think ego plays a big role in your life. I listened to a bunch of really cool stories that I want to talk about with you today. Some happened before your accident. Accident was also, seems to me, an ego check, because you were in this expensive suit on a bike, and then stuff happened.
It wasn't that expensive, though, to be honest. I had it made here by a local Balinese tailor, and it was like $100.
Really?
Yeah, it was great, right? I like finding, I'm Indian, bro. We find deals.
All right. So the story that is interesting, and if it's not related to ego, let me know, but I think it could be, that happened to you in 2016, and that you shared it in one of the talks you did. Story about the planning to move to Bali, going to the airport, and getting searched by security guys there. Can you share that story? I think it's very, very useful.
The airport story. Shit. Okay, so this is a crazy one. I'll try to cliff note it a little bit, because it's a bit of a long one. So I was getting ready to leave the dope game, move to Bali, risk it all on myself, getting out. I was with my girlfriend at the time. I was addicted to drugs. I was moving to Bali to get clean at a kind of a detox center here, a private one, and start my life over. And I'm going to the airport, and literally before I was leaving, I'm getting out of the dope game. And I told my parents everything. I'm leaving. I'm a drug addict. I'm a drug dealer. I'm going to go sort my life out. They're like, okay, fuck. Power to you. Let's go. Like they knew how significant this was, so they're there to help me. My mom really showed up for me. So I'm collecting debts in my parents' basement, like money counter ringing through, giving my mom bricks of cash. Like, here, mom, like, send this to me some other time. Like, I can't fly with this shit, right? Like, my mom's like, oh my God, okay, okay. My librarian mother, right?
Yeah.
Is like fucking helping me out big time, right? I have friends coming in, I'm like, here, have my kit that I'd use to mix cocaine. Here's my kit. Here's my, here's my money counter. It's just a weird scene in my basement, right?
Yeah.
And one of my buddies comes by and he opened up a marijuana dispensary. It wasn't legal at the time, now it is. And he had a like a dropper of THC oil. And he's like, here, bro, I know you're going through it. This will make the trip a little easier for you. I'm like, oh, thanks, bro. That's cool, right? I'll take it on the plane, watch movies. It'll be chill. So I also had a big bottle of methadone, and that helps you like with it's what heroin addicts take, right? And I was like, this is gonna help me get through it. But I also still had, I was doing Oxycontin 80, fentanyl 80s. You crush them and snort them. It's fucking nasty. I was doing like 20 a day at the worst of it. So that's a hectic amount. That would kill most people. One, if you did one right now, you'd probably die. Like it's a very, very strong thing, right? Having no tolerance, that could kill you.
Yeah.
So I was doing 20 a day. It was an intense amount, an elephant amount, right? And I had an unlimited supply, so of course you just build up a crazy tolerance. And so I had the oxys on me. I had about 10 on me. I had a bottle of methadone on me. I had a fake ID for some reason because I was using it to rent work spots, and I spent good money on it, and I didn't want to, like, I was being cheap. I didn't want to like throw it away. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll use it someday in Bali. I don't know. Fuck. So maybe a keepsake or a memory. So add fraud to the charges I'd be charged with when they search my shit, right? So I took some of the THC oil and I took way too much. I couldn't see it. I was kind of like in the backseat of my parents' car. They're driving me to the airport with me and my girlfriend at the time, Leah. And so I took it and I took like a few too many, and I was like, I guess it's going to be a fun ride. Put it away. And when we get to the airport, I forgot to get into Indonesia. You need to have a ticket out. And so they're like, where are you flying out of after? There's only a 60-day visa. And I was like, oh shit, we forgot about this. So we had to book flights right then and there to we'll go to Singapore, Tokyo or something. But it took another half an hour to book the flights. The credit card wasn't working, or the blah, blah, VPN, this, that. Some shit was like a hiccup. Then we had to go back in line. So it ate up a good 45 minutes. But by then, the oil like hit me like a train. So I was like going into the first security check, and I'm like getting really high, right? I'm like, oh no. So then they swipe and they're swabbing all my bags. They always swab everything to see if there's any cocaine residue or whatever. They want drug residue, explosive residue. They do that swipey thing, right? Swabby thing, sorry. And I'm like, you idiots. I Lysol wiped my whole stuff. I'm like, I'm a pro at this stuff. There's no way you're going to catch me on this. Ha ha ha. And my drugs are all hidden in very really clever spots, but not impossible to find, right? Yeah. So I go in, I get through the airport security. I'm like, great. We had about 45 minutes to wait till our flight because we were a bit late now. Okay. So I go into the bathroom, do a bit more drugs, do a little bit more oxys. I'm really stoned now. So I go and buy like Despicable Me headphones for no reason at all, just because they're cool. Like, stupid, right? My girlfriend's like, why the fuck did you buy these? You're like, you have to start your life over. We gotta save money. I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. I bought chips, whatever. We finally get time to board. We go, they check my ticket. We go onto that little runway corridor to get onto the plane. The first thing I see as soon as I come around the corner is 6 border security agents and a police dog waiting there. And they look directly at me, and I'm like, like literally, that was my face, like shocked, like actually shocked, like, oh fuck, kind of look. And so they looked at me, saw me do that look. They're like, you come over here. And I'm like, fuck, like really? So they come over there, and I'm so high. I'm way too high to deal with the situation. Like, this is not an okay situation for me to be in this high, right? Yeah. They go, where are you going? And I'm like, Bali. He goes, okay. How long are you going for? And I'm like, 2 or 3 months. He's like, how do you not know how long you're going for? I'm like, I might move there, thinking about, taking a break from Vancouver, maybe move there for a little bit. He's like, you running away from something? And I was like, oh, fuck. This is, they're not gonna let me go. I thought I was under investigation for a few months before that. Things were getting really crazy. A couple of my workers were getting caught. I was in a really intense space. There was a lot of beef between my friends. People were shooting each other, kidnappings. It was really intense. I was really running away from myself and the dope game and my addiction. Like, I was actually running away. This was my all or nothing shot to get away and start my life over. This was the shot, right? I'm like, oh fuck, right? He goes, okay, what do you have in your bags? I'm like, clothes, stuff. He's like, okay, you're acting really suspicious. We're going to go to secondary questioning. And I'm like, fuck, like, I'm going away from the plane now. They're taking me back off the corridor and back into the International Departures Lounge. I'm like, oh man, like, this is bad. So I'm in my head thinking, I'm fucked. I'm going to jail. Like, they just caught me to make sure there was probably a warrant out for me. I was under investigation. They're getting me before they can't anymore. Yeah. This is it, right? So we go outside, and I'm like, fuck it, man. Just take it like a man. Like, just take it like a man. So I say to him as soon as we get outside, I'll go, look, bro, if this is just for me, let's get this over with. And I try to say it like a little East Van street punk. And he goes, why would you say that? This is a routine stop. I'm like, oh, shit. And my girlfriend Leah was like, shut the fuck up. I'm making this situation way worse. I'm bombing it. I'm so high. I'm fucking this whole situation up. And I saw just then they stopped another guy. They stopped like a Vietnamese uncle.
Yeah.
And so he's pissed. They stopped this other guy too. So there's like two of the guards on me and the three of them with the dog on the other guy. And so he's my guard is, questioning him further. He's like, okay, so if we take your luggage off, what's in the luggage and how much money do you have on you? All these questions. And I'm like, really like fucking, I'm a deer in headlights. I'm freaking out right now. Right. I'm way too high. And he goes, okay, we're going to take your luggage off the plane and check. So that means I'm going to miss my flight.
Yeah.
He's about to walkie-talkie it. And in that is all this shit. Like, it's like my fake IDs. I got the methadone and the drugs on me. So like in my personal baggage, but like hidden very well. But I'm like, the dog was sniffing me while they were trying to question me. And it's very distracting to be sniffed by a dog while you're trying to have questions. It's a very, very distracting situation, right? So I'm not looking anything but suspicious, right?
Yeah. Super
suspicious. And so just when he's about to radio, I hear, fuck you, you're taking my liberty. And we all look and turn and the Vietnamese guy's freaking out. And all the guards are like, the dog's barking at him. Everybody in the entire airport stops and looks. Like he screamed this at the top of his lungs. So International Departures Lounge of the fucking Vancouver airport, 400 people probably just like in this small area turn and look. Right, we're surrounded by people and dogs barking and police. It's a scene.
Yeah.
And the security agents go, "Sir, are you threatening me?" And he goes, "Fuck you!" Freaks out, right? So they tackle him and he's resisting arrest and the dog's barking and it's this whole scene. And the guard that's looking at this is looking at this happen and looking at us, looking at this happen. And I go, "Hey man, can you just let us go? We're just trying to go to Bali." And he looks at it. And he looks at them, and this guy's flipping out over there, and he goes, "Okay, go."
You're so lucky.
Fuck, man. He's so lucky, right? So he lets us go. We get back on the corridor to the plane, and I look at Leah like, "Yo, we made it," and she's like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like she's not having it. She's so mad. Like this was a very traumatic situation for both of us, right? I'm like, ah. So we're the last people on the plane. They were waiting at the door of the plane, about to close the plane. Literally, they're like, "Come on, let's go." Everybody else is seated. The entire plane is seated, right? Seatbelts on, ready to fly. We're the last people on. They close the doors behind us. I look at the ticket. She says, "Oh, 84F. You're in the very back of the plane in the middle." So we have to walk by like 300 people, all like, what the like? They heard, "Fuck you. Fuck you. You're taking my liberty. Are you threatening me? Fuck you again." And then dog barking, screaming, and me walk in. So they're just like, what the hell, right? Like everybody heard this whole situation, and they're all like watching me walk by, right? And I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing. We get to the middle row, and we're in the middle. So I had to like ask this old Chinese grandma to get out of the way, and she's like, "What happened?" Right? She's like, "Ask me when we sit down. What happened?" I'm like, "I can't right now. Like, don't talk to me. Like, I just can't. No." I'm freaking out. I just need us to take off. Like, God, please let this plane take off. Please don't let them stop me. Please just let it be okay. Like, please. Like, praying, begging. Finally, the plane takes off. I'm like, oh my God. Like, fuck, thank God. I'm worried that there's going to be people waiting in Taipei at the layover, but whatever, man. Finally, the seatbelt light goes off and I bolt to the bathroom. I just sit in the bathroom. I'll never forget having this moment where I was laughing and crying at the same time. I was full of so much emotions that I was just like, I can't. That was intense. Yeah. And I just knew that was like a gift from God. Like that was absolutely divine intervention. I could have right there gone to jail. I could have not started my life over. I could have definitely not been here today with you. It would have changed my whole life. Yeah. But something came down that day in the form of like an angel and that Vietnamese uncle and just got me on that plane so I could then start my life over. And I devoted my life to service in that bathroom. I was like, you just got so fucking lucky. Don't you at all waste your life. Like you have to live your life to the absolute fullest now and help as many people as you can because you almost didn't make it. Yeah. And that was like a promise. I'm like, I promise I will fucking help. I promise I'll do it. And I was like, that was the moment. That was the airplane story moment.
Wow. The second ego story, and we don't have to go deep into that, but it seems to me from what I learned about you that it's like it comes in waves.
Oh yeah.
So then when you landed in Bali, your story with dealing drugs and sort of supporting people did not start right. Like you still dealt drugs, and then you tried to go to yoga.
Oh, yeah. That was the first Bali trip.
Oh, that's the
so
first.
so me getting
It's
out was the
unrelated.
second trip.
Okay.
So yeah. The first time I went to Bali though, I did a plant medicine called iboga, and this was when I was really deep in the drug game,
I see.
and I needed to get off drugs, and then I went to Bali. And after doing iboga and did a yoga teacher training, but I was still a drug dealer. I still had 3 cell phones. I was doing international drug deals. I'm in a yoga teacher training at Yoga Barn. A weird fucking guy, right? And I'm just like such a douchebag during that time. I'm like getting full sleeve tattoos during my yoga teacher training. I'm on Tinder dates. Like I was a mess, you know? And so my yoga teacher didn't even pass me on that teacher training. She goes, look, I can't like stamp my name on your certificate. Like you didn't take this seriously. Like when are you ever going to give a shit about anything, Aren? Like you could be so great if you just applied yourself, but you don't care. And I was like, whatever. I was just there like trying to get clean and like have some, but I was still, you know, drug dealer life. Like this did not matter to me. I'm not going to get rich being a yoga teacher. I only wanted to be rich, you know, so it just didn't matter. And when my Bali trip ended, 2 months in Bali, I was still like kind of all over the place. Like I got kind of clean, but I was not at all healed. Like I was really still in this weird state.
In that trip, there was a story that I wanted to allude to when you had like 2 kilos of cocaine and a gun.
Yeah. So this is like, so this all happened before the airport story. So I then went and I knew I had to go back to Vancouver, but I knew I did not want to be in Vancouver anymore. I knew I wanted to live in Ubud. I knew I wanted to move away and live a hippie life in Bali and just like work on myself. I just knew I needed that. But I also knew I needed to get out of the game, and I had a real estate development project and a couple things I had to like settle before I left and cash out so I could leave. So I was doing real estate development. I needed to do that to get out. So I was back in it, and one of the projects went wrong, and I had to redo an entire like apartment with my own 2 hands to make enough money to break even, to then get my float money out to then start my life over. So I was like, oh shit, okay, this is a challenging situation to be in, but I was dealing drugs to then pay for the re-renovations and my lifestyle to save to try to get out. So I remember I was doing this drug deal, and it was 2 kilos of coke, and I didn't really know the other guys that well. And this is, you know, in the interim when I'm working to get out. I'm working to get to the airport story, right? This is before that. And I had this handgun with a silencer on it. It was a 40 cal, and it was like this big, like long one with the silencer, and it wouldn't really fit in anything. And these guys were coming to my apartment, and I had the 2 kilos like, you know, on the oven, and I was trying to fit it like in a drawer. It wouldn't fit. I'd fit it in the oven. That's not very convenient. And I'm just trying to figure out where to fit this gun and also psych myself up that if these guys rob me for those 2 kilos, I can't cover that. That's coming from my friend. Like I'll have to pay that, and I can't. I'm not getting robbed for 2 kilos. I'm like, no way. I will shoot these guys if that happens. And I had to like psych myself up, trying to mentally psych myself up, like you will act if this happens. And I had a breakdown. I actually just stopped on the floor and I started crying, and I thought, this is your fucking life? Like this is what you're doing. You were just a month ago or 2 months ago in Bali drinking green juice with hippies, you know, doing a fucking yoga teacher training, and now you're trying to psych yourself up to shoot some guys over cocaine. No, man, like I'm not having it. This isn't you. You can't do this. And I'm fucking crying. And just then Denise Payne, my yoga teacher, her like head comes over me, and she's like, when will you ever actually give a shit about something? You could be so great, you know, if you just apply yourself, you know, this and that. I was like, fuck, she's right. That little yoga teacher was right. I need to go back to Bali. I need to finish that yoga teacher training. I need to actually like make something out of my life, because this is not it. Yeah. And so that was one of the pivotal moments that made me really push to get out, was I just knew this is not my life. This is not who I'm meant to be. I'm not helping or serving anyone. It's just fear and drugs and guns and violence. It's just not okay. Like this is not a good way to live. And so when I got back to Bali after the airport story, I showed back up to Yoga Barn. Denise Payne was sitting in her normal spot drinking her coffee, and I rock up. She couldn't believe she'd see me again. I'm like, I want to do the teacher training again. And she started crying. She's like, I'm so proud that you're here and that you made it and that you got out. And yeah, let's do this. And then we became close friends. Like, you know, I did that training. I finished my 500 hours of yoga teacher training in Kurubakan prison, volunteering there for free to the people in prison, teaching them yoga. I never became a yoga teacher. I just wanted to change my life. And I think everybody should do a yoga teacher training. It's very transformative. And then, you know, opened up a few businesses here. And, you know, a lot of them had a lot to do with yoga and development, because that was a big part of my growth.
Beautiful. So you first time coming to Bali, doing yoga teacher training, and her words when you failed it, let you realize a moment when you were doing this cocaine trade in Vancouver that you need to change your life. Yeah. And this was the precursor to you coming to Bali a second time.
Yeah.
Okay, now we gotta, because there was 2 videos. One was about this, one was about that. I'm like, okay, is it late or not? So now we gotta get a story straight. Couple more questions about the business, because, well, some people listening are entrepreneurs, so I have to ask.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm excited about you the most is how you do all your businesses are conscious.
Mm.
So you are giving back while doing businesses. Big part of your every business you do is to give back and make people's lives better. I guess for people who are starting out or thinking of doing conscious business, what template, what sort of mindset they need to adopt? How do they need to think to make sure that they cover that as well?
Yeah, it's really important. Honestly, like, because I did enough to make money that wasn't helping anybody. And I had money, I had cash, and I just realized this, it's not enough. It's not enough to just make money these days. It just won't fulfill you like it will. Having nice shit doesn't make you happy when you're not emotionally there, you know, connecting to something bigger than you. And when you are connecting to something bigger than you, people that need your help and you're useful, that is fulfilling. Like, be useful and help people. Really, people that deserve your help, need your help. You know, not just rich guys. You're selling some rich fucking coaching program to help rich people get richer, or just help people do some shit that isn't really helping people that are really in need. You know, it's not the same. I did that. It's not the same. It's way more worth it. Pick a cause, and you don't have to donate all your funds to them. No, you need to take care of yourself. You still want to live an affluent, rich life. Of course, you deserve to. It's important. Not you. I still want nice shit. You know, I still want nice things. It's not going to go away. I want to be comfortable, but having a cause that you can then consistently go and do is vital for purpose and passion and feeling like you actually are worth something. You know, no one's really gonna remember how much money you had. No one's gonna give a shit about that. Only they're gonna remember is, you know, how you made people feel, how you showed up for people, you know, what kind of heart you have. So show your heart, and that's important to do that, because so many times we just want to show our Mercedes, and it's not worth it. It doesn't leave the same impact as if you have a big heart and the Mercedes. Do both. They're not mutually exclusive. Do both. So I picked and just for other people to do, is pick a cause that you would love to champion. One that you really think deserves your care, you know? So I picked a school for mentally disabled Balinese kids. That was the first one. And I saw these kids, I met them, and it struck my heart. I see these kids and I see how they're champions there. They're fucking showing up for each other, and they're growing and leveling up, and, like, you know, having a place in a community and connection. And it struck my heart. So I was like, okay, you guys deserve the support. And I'm a networker. I can bring my global network to support you. That's what I want to do, and some funds every month from my shop. You know, didn't break the bank. It was like $500 a month from my shop. It was okay. We can do that, and that means a lot to them consistently. That helps a lot, right? So you can do something even on a way smaller scale, even if it's $100 a month from your business or whatever it is. If it's consistent, it really helps. You know, it really does help. Also, your time is valuable. So to go and give your time to a cause that you really care about consistently, it matters. It really helps. And so that's what I'd say for everybody else, is to find a cause. Like we did one to have Balinese kids get their first bed to sleep on. We wanted kids to have a good bed. We did that. Happy Mattress Project. That was great. Felt really good to do that. We did help women that were the victims of human trafficking. That felt really good. I'm passionate about that subject. That was really good. You know, now back in Vancouver, we're doing with my new shop, Lotus House, we're helping kids that are at risk of gang violence and gang abuse. Obviously, I know that world very well, and, you know, those kids deserve these after school programs that, you know, my friend Cal Desange is putting on with Kids Play Foundation. And I don't have to run that. That's not my baby. I don't want to CEO NGO or something like that. That's too much for me. But I can use my network like an entrepreneur, leverage what I can leverage, and give how I can give, even if that means leveraging my network and not always cash, because I hit a huge loss during Corona. So yeah, I wasn't giving that much cash. I was giving my time and mind, though, and I was leveraging who I knew and how I knew how to do it to still be able to keep the numbers up and keep them going. And I think that's what a lot of people starting off can also do. Be a middleman. The art of good business is being a good middleman. That's in the dope game and in regular world, right? In regular entrepreneur life. So provide a service to help these kids, or whatever, you know, foundation you want. Help them how you can. You can get innovative with it. Get resourceful. It doesn't have to be all the money from your business, but it can be middlemaning, getting them even more money. And that's what I did a lot of the time, was I'd middleman it and get them like big chunks of cash. And I did it every year on my birthday. We did Happy Mattress Project and, you know, raised like 30-50 grand every year. Great. That helped a lot of kids. It helped, probably got like, I think 250 beds is what we got kids one year for my birthday. And I was like, that felt really good. I didn't put in any money. I just leveraged. I think I bought one mattress or something, but, you know, it felt really good to do that. So that's something that I think for entrepreneurs to do. Not only does it bring good karma to your business, it also, people align with your business better. You can market that. It's not cheesy. Yeah, people say you can do charity work, doesn't need to be spoken about. Yeah, whatever, man. I think it's important because it shows other people that giving is cool.
Yeah.
That actually, look, I'm an inked out dude, and I think giving is important. It shows other people that, hey, that's cool. I want to be cool like that. I want to give, and it inspires others, and that's what I really enjoy about it. Yeah. So then people want to be in that giving field. That they see more and more people are stepping up and leading, and giving is important in our society today. So you can put that as part of your hallmark of your business. And also people see my shops and they rather go to the one that supports a school for mentally disabled kids than the one that doesn't.
For sure.
Hands down, right?
So you run right now over 7 businesses. 7 or more?
I got Conscious Arts, Karma House, my coaching practice, Lighthouse, but I don't really run Lighthouse. My buddy Monty Hook does that. I just help provide ideas, and that's what I get paid to be me now. Like, I've just done enough. I didn't go to school. I got kicked out of high school. I didn't go to university really. So now I get paid just to be me because of the skills I studied to learn. So that's what I love, that people who like didn't get a high school or university education, you can just level up enough in certain areas and self-study to just get paid to be you because of your unique, knowledge.
So what do you bring to the table in those businesses?
Network connections, idea generation, a lot of creativity is what I love. I like to be in my creative, and just energy. I like to bring the energy to get shit done. So I'm a doer, and so if we need to build a thing, I help us build it. I get very resourceful, and that's what I enjoy doing, is like problem solving on that level, right? Beautiful. And so Karma House, Conscious Arts, my coaching practice, Lotus House, Sigma Motor Group. So those are 5 that I'm on my podcast, but it's not really a business.
Ink, Pray, Love, check it out.
Ink, Pray, Love
it's
podcast, check it out. Yeah, I'm writing a book. So there's like seven projects I'm on right now. Yogi Lab, I don't manage or do anything with that anymore. My boys took that one over. They're taking it and running with more breathwork practices. I wanted to go and do my own thing. We're still very close friends, so we got that. And my Airbnb bed and breakfast was that first business I started here. We let that go for Conscious Arts. So I'm just actually running probably about 5 projects plus a couple passion ones.
So a lot of people listening, they're like, wow, how is it possible to run so much? How do you manage it in terms of like day to day?
I needed to really get clear on what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. So I'm not a good manager. I'm actually like an idea generator. I'm a creative. I'm good at bringing people together. I'm a connector. So I realized, that's my role. I need to be with or partnered or employ management teams that are very anal, that are really detail oriented, that are really like structured, that don't want to be the face of a business, that just want to, be in the back end, making sure things work. Those are the archetypes of what I know I need in my life. Yeah. So I have a lot of resources and help from people that are going to be those guys. And I know to look for them now. So I know that's not me, and I need those people. Yeah. I'm going to start the fire. I'm not going to go get wood. All right. So that's just like how it is for me. I'll pick where we're starting the fire. I'll pick who's going to do the wood. I'll pick, I'll help set up the container, which a lot of people have trouble doing. I'll set the container, but I'm not going to be the one that's going to be managing. So I know that about me now. Before I thought I could do it all. Yeah. I realized that's just not my personality. So really, you got to know yourself. And there's no fault in that. There's no, like, if you guys are like, I could do it all, let go of your ego. Like we were talking about ego. It's so important to know just what you don't want to do or you're not good at. Just name it. And then
how did you find it out? Was there like a test you took, or
fucking test was life? I saw like I started managing more than one business, and after Karma House I really realized I didn't want to manage Karma House. Like I got it up and running and going, and I needed to hire managers. Yeah. I could hire one project and manage that fully by myself. Conscious Arts was super easy, small one. But then when I started scaling, it was like, oh no, like, okay, I don't want to deal. I don't want to make sure people come on time for work. Like, I'm the fun uncle. I don't want to be like that's not me, man. I don't even like firing people, really. I like hiring people, but I don't like firing people. Yeah. I'm the nice guy, right? So it's like, okay, I need to be with the fucking anal people in my life that love firing people, that can't wait to fire someone. I need that guy, So, that's interesting. And so also organization, prioritization, I have a different day for a different business, or like I got things down to systems. So I'll create the system first, and then there'll be a certain day where we check on the system. So I manage the managers. So I'm like, I could do that. I can check in with the managers, and make sure that we're following the plans and the quarterly goals. I also have an online business manager, and she helps me nail my quarter goals for each business. And I'm like, good, get help. Yeah. Super important. I can't do this shit alone. I'm a creative. I don't want to be the systems guy either. Yeah. So I don't want to be accountant. I don't want to be the systems guy. I don't want to be like, all those things. That's not the way like my brain likes to work. Right. Yeah. So knowing your strengths is super important. Staying in your passion and creative energy, that like is your goal, your actual strength. So if someone's just more in the analytical brain, great. partner with someone like me, like partner with a creative that's going to go get sales.
Yeah.
I'm just a glorified salesman, honestly. You know, it's just like get one of those, you know, mouthpieces that'll be, you can hire them as you, you know, as a manager or partner or sales manager, but like know what you need to complement you, just like in a relationship.
Yeah.
You got to complement each other.
Beautiful. Jumping around a bit, but I know you went to Aubrey Marcus Fit for Service.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
And why did you decide to be part of it? And what was the main learnings from that experience?
Oh man. Well, actually this happened in a really cool way because like I said, I got back into my faith after the accident, and I was in Vancouver, and there's this temple my family would go to as I was growing up, a Sikh temple, and I'd go there now just on my own because my new shop is kind of close to it. And it was like Tuesday afternoon, 1 p.m. No one's there. I had the whole place to myself. That's when I like going. I'd go after I'd hit the gym in the morning, go get a few hours of work done, take a break, go to meditate at the temple. No one's there. It's my temple now. So that's what's up. I love that. So I'd go there and I was meditating and I was really thinking about what the Sikh faith is about. And the main thing that I resonate with is service, seva, is selfless giving. That's the main thing that our faith really champions, is we need to serve the humanity. We need to accept all people. All religions are right. All religions are accepted, and don't try to kill another person to be a part of the other religion. That's why we're warriors. We protect everyone. That's why we're mostly warriors and security guards and police officers in India. Our guards, soldiers are Sikh. They're a warrior class, and so, you know, that was coming up in me where I was like, well, we need to be heart warriors. We're bhakti warriors. We want to be men of faith, and service is the highest level, I think, of service to humanity. And I was like, how can I serve deeper? You know, I thought about that. I was meditating on it, and I was meditating on our first Guru Nanak, and he's the original, like, OG bhakti yogi. Like, he's the one that really was about, like, chanting and kirtans, and just, like, there was a lot around. He was the one who wrote a lot of our scriptures, and so that was something that was coming through to me, and I was like, I want to serve at a deeper level. And when I was thinking about that, I had, like, a full body tingle, and it was like, oh, okay, this is, like, where you're supposed to be going in life. Like, stay on the service path. Everything else will take care. You'll always be taken care of if you're on the service path. Yeah. You don't need to have too much. You don't need to be a billionaire. You don't need all this shit. You just need to serve, and you're going to be happy. And that's what you really need is to be happy. You don't need all this flashy shit, really. Yeah. So don't even think about that, except serving, and you'll get what you want also, right? I'm like, okay, great. Good lesson. I left there feeling good. I check my phone. My buddy Lucas Mack messages me. He's a close friend of mine. He's a breathwork practitioner, one of the co-founders of Awaken Breathwork with his partner Hella West, and we're good friends from Bali, right? And so he messages me and he goes, "Hey buddy, what are you doing next week?" And I'm like, "Chillin', man. What's going on?" And he goes, "Do you want to come to Aubrey Marcus Fit for Service? I'm facilitating there. I could ask him, you know, if you want to tag along." And I'm like, "Yo, you're gonna like bring me along for free to Aubrey Marcus's house?" Yeah, like of course. So I canceled. I was building Lotus House. So I literally had so much shit on my plate, launching a business, starting construction, and I was like, I gotta do this. Tell my business partner, like, I gotta do this. So I meet Hella and Lucas at a jetport in Arizona. They hired a limo bus for us to go from Arizona to Sedona. We arrive at Aubrey Marcus's ranch. And like, he's been a hero of mine for a long time. I'd refer his book, you know, on the Day on Your Life, to so many of my coaching clients. You know, like, this is a foundational book you need to listen to, you need to read for you to get the foundations of how to live a healthy lifestyle. This is the one. This is a great book, right? Yeah. And I've been listening to his podcast. He's just, I'm a huge fan of him. So he's the dude, right? So he comes down, and the first day I'm there, we got there 2 or 3 days into Fit for Service, because Hella and Lucas are just rock stars. They just fly in, do their thing, fly out. They're busy, right? So I got to tag along for that. So we're only going to be there for 3 days. It's a 5-day thing. So we rock up, and it's the day of a ecstatic dance, dress up theme party. It's like the 4th day. It's a Friday night there. It's the night of your shadow self, and you need to dress up as your shadow self or your integrated shadow, something like that, right? I mean, I just flew and I had no fucking costume, right? So I had to make one. So I literally got a cardboard box and I wrote Hoodrich on it, and I got a cell phone cable to wire it as a necklace, and I drew a couple dollar signs on me, had a bunch of gold shit on me, and I was like, hood rich. I'm hood rich. That's my unintegrated shadow. Integrated shadow is me wanting to be a hood rich drug dealer and now feeling rich within myself. So that was like my costume. It was so ghetto and everyone loved it. It's great when you have like a stupid costume that took little effort that everyone loves right away, rather than having that one that took like a million years. Yeah. And like everyone's like, yeah, cool, you're a genie, whatever. You know what I mean? So much better. So I'm hood rich, and Aubrey comes out in this Genghis Khan outfit. Looking like a serious, like he's a big guy. His energy's big. He's an impressive human. When you meet him, you're, oh fuck, he's just like he's the dude. He has king energy, like in a good way. He's a good king energy, heart king. So I go to like, hi, Aubrey, like shake his hand. I'm trying not to fucking fanboy. And he's like, bring it in, brother. And gives me this big hug. And I'm like, I'm hugging Aubrey Marcus. This is fucking cool, right? Like, I love this guy. So we're in this, there's this meeting he called, and it was for all the facilitators. So Lucas and Hella, my friend Blue is there, and a bunch of other people are there, are all breathwork facilitators. And this is like masters of masters, like Dr. Dan Engel, a bunch of other like big Kyle Kingsbury, like famous, big, accomplished like people are in this circle around this fire in Aubrey's private ranch, because the actual rest of the Fit for Service are on his property, but way over there. So this is his private ranch, known as his house, right? One of his properties in this amazing red rock Sedona desert, like epic place, right? It's super powerful energy. I'm there as just some friend who tagged along wearing a Hoodrich cardboard sign, right? So I'm there. Everyone else is like in their costumes, but like they're doing a thing. I'm there like, does anyone want water or anything? Like, you know, like what could I do here? I have no place. I have no, like, I just tagged along. So I'm just kind of in the background, like, you know, just listening to Aubrey like hold court and talking about what this breathwork's going to be. He's going through the music. He's running down the music. He's talking about the experience he wants people to have, or who's going to do what. He's quarterbacking this thing like a fucking boss, right? I'm there like watching him, and I'm like, this is so cool. Like just to see like how he leads with so much heart and power, and like, wow, like it was a download on leadership right there. That was the most potent leadership example I've ever seen, honestly, was how he held court in a light but powerful, heart-centered way. It was just really, that was really impressive, right? And just then, as I'm watching this serious moment, something falls out of the sky and hits me in the head, and I go, what the fuck was that? And everyone looks at me. And it was a reaction. I didn't know. I literally said, what the fuck was that? And everyone turns and looks at me. And it was a grasshopper. Fell from the sky, landed on me, landed on the guy beside, and fell. Both of us, you know, kind of thing. And they all look at me. I'm like, I'm sorry, right? Like, oh my God. Like, I'm the guy who has nothing to do here and just disrupted the whole thing, going, what the fuck was that? Yeah. Right? So it's really embarrassing. But then the grasshopper goes and floats and lands on everybody, like in intervals of like a minute or 30 seconds. So everyone's like, like, but it did everyone. And then it ended with Aubrey and went up his neck. And he's like, oh, this is grasshopper medicine. We looked it up and it meant something significant. I forget what now, but it was like a whole thing. It was like a ceremonial grasshopper that touched us all. Wow. So it was like a crazy energy. We were like, what the fuck was that? It started with me. Yeah. So it was quite funny. And that kind of helped me feel like integrated in the group, because it was like something happened, but at least like I was a part of it. It started with me, and like at least it touched everyone, so it wasn't just like me causing a ruckus, right? So it made me feel a little bit better, and we all laughed about it. It was cool. And then someone comes out, and Vailana, Aubrey's wife, was about to perform. It was her first live performance. She's incredible, by the way. Her music's amazing. You guys got to check out Vailana on Spotify. And they're like, Vailana needs to see you. She's about to perform. She needs to, like, she wants you to like talk to her. He wanted Aubrey for something, and he just like stood up. He's like, well, wife needs me. I'll be back. Enjoy, guys. And just like cut the meeting short and went to go serve. And I was like, wow, like that was impressive. I just saw how he was like, I'm here to serve, and like my woman needs me. I'm up and I'm going. Wow. And I was like, that was boss. You know, it just like, I just really was like, man, this guy.
Priority straight.
Yeah, class act. You know, it just really showed me what it meant to be a man in another light. And so it was just so cool being a part of that, and being in an inner circle of this, and just invited on a whim. And I was meditating in the temple on how I could serve deeper. And then I get a free ride to Fit for Service. It was just like, yo, you can't not see the link there of intention to serve and what the universe will give you that you're looking outside of yourself, right? The gifts are there if you plant your seed. Yeah. And so after that first day, the ecstatic dance, we're all back in Aubrey's ranch, the facilitators and his inner circle. And I'm in his kitchen, the private catered chef, sitting there eating with him. And we're shooting the shit in his kitchen. And I'm telling him about my accident. Lucas is like, yo, you got to hear this guy's story about the accident. And I'm telling him about the accident. And I had just started being able to walk without a cane when I got there. So I'm still kind of limping a little bit. No one can really tell, though. No one can tell I've been in an accident. I'm enough walking well enough that you'd really have to know to look at me limping, right? Yeah. So I'm telling him about the accident. And he's like, holy shit. Wow, man, that's badass. Well, the breathwork ceremony tomorrow, let that out, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down. So I sat the first one, and it was like the most epic, like masters of masters breathwork ceremony, like 12 facilitators, Aubrey leading, Blue leading, Lucas, Hella, Dr. Dan Engel, Kyle Kingsbury, like so many, like Dr. Liz Letchford, like so many amazing masters of people were there leading this, right? Co-facilitating. And it was a group of Fit for Service, about 500 people, something like that. And so the first group was like half of them, a couple hundred, right? 100 people, 200 people. Second group was the other half. So I'm there in the first half. And it's the deepest breath work I've ever been in. And I remember the songs coming on and what Aubrey was saying, this is when they're going to do this. So he's like, he was guiding it. So I heard the pregame. So then when I heard it, the music come on, I was like, oh, this is when I'm supposed to go super deep. And it worked. Because like when you pre-frame yourself, you set yourself up to go there. So it's important to set intentions again, right? Because you'll set yourself up to go there. Yeah. So I'm going deep, and Aubrey comes over me during this time, and he puts his hand on my heart, and he goes, remember that story you told me in the kitchen, brother? Now's the time. And I was like, I had this like huge exorcism of like just like snot and tears and just all the trauma of the accident. And it was coming up for me, and it was like, this is so hard. Like that was so hard. You went through so much. Grieve this. Like really grieve. You fucking suffered so. It was so hard and heartbreaking, and the setbacks and the loneliness in a wheelchair, and you know, like so much happened. Like you really fucking went for it. Feel that. And I cried my eyes out.
Beautiful.
I cried my eyes out. And then Blue comes over me, and Blue puts her finger on my forehead and my third eye. And I instantly got plunged into like a DMT trip. And she was there with me. As soon as she connected to my we were both shaking. We were like,
really? Wow.
And both of us went into this crazy DMT void. And I was like, literally, like, I didn't know where I went. And when we got back into it, I was shaking so much. We were both like, wow. So like the next day we talked about it, like, what happened there? She's like, I seriously went into like a void with you, and we were flying through the cosmos together, and we're like totally were. So like me and Blue linked really tight. They're good friends now from that. Aubrey and me had such a deep moment. I couldn't thank them enough throughout that. So it was really like a powerful experience to get into that circle. And then the rest of the trip, I was so thankful for them. I was just trying to serve however I could. Like, what do you guys need? I'll clean up. Like there's garbage, I'll clean, whatever there is. Like this gave me so much. Yeah. And also what gave me a lot was seeing how they led. And that was like, there were so many masters of masters, but the egos were like, no, service, fit for service. And it showed me, man, wow, you can have the success and the power, but unless it's rooted in an actual heart-centered leadership service mode, it's not the same. I left feeling buzzing after that. I was so inspired. I wrote like 8 chapters in my book when I got home. Like wow. I was dialed. Being around that frequency of heart-led leadership, it's so healing. It's so important to be around that. Yeah. And that's how I now, like, I want to walk the earth like that. Like, that's how I want to be.
Beautiful.
And so, yeah, I would recommend everybody go check out Fit for Service, check out Aubrey's stuff, his podcast. He's the real deal.
We'll put it on the show notes.
Yeah.
So, couple rapid fire questions before we go. And you answered those before about your life, but we're going to talk about the last 2 years. So, how does your routines look like now after you had a surgery, after you had an accident and surgeries and everything? I'm sure your routines are different from what they were before.
Yeah. There's a lot more prayer. I've been doing more like chanting meditations. It brought me more into spiritual practice rather than just like a very like utilitarian, like breathe, meditate. Like I still breathe and meditate, but it's more intentional. Yeah. So a lot of what I do is more intentional now. I got to be honest, moving back to Vancouver though, it's just been like a little bit more difficult to stay as dialed in. There's just really good weed. It's just like, man, my friends are all stoners. So I was like, I've been smoking a bit too much weed while I'm there. Got a little chubby. So I'm like, okay, now being back in Bali for this little trip that I've been here, it's shown me, okay, the balance is so important. Yeah. So I need to actually go back and be me, not conform to society as it is there. Because everybody listening in the West, it's easy to then just be in the West and everyone's fat and dumb. No offense. But everyone's so fucking fat and dumb these days, man. No, we got to be the leaders and actually be smart and knowledgeable and dialed in and fit and caring and loving. We have to be the ones that are leading that, because the way society is like shaping us isn't that. Yeah. They just want to be dumb and fat, right? So it's like we can't be that. So I really saw that by coming out here, and I'm gonna go back and bring that energy back and take breaks, because I was there 10 months. I need to like make sure I go to center with myself, and that's been part of my routine to make sure I have time to align to my values again, because if I don't and it just gets stuck in the matrix, it's easy just to be fat and dumb. So that was a rapid fire question. That was a rant.
It's okay. No. I mean, it's good. If you would meet yourself 18 months ago, let's say before the accident, and knowing what you know now, if you could tell yourself one thing, what would that be?
This was actually a really big part of my healing process, and I did a hypnotherapy session on how to heal this trauma. And it was exactly this question. You're going to go meet yourself before the accident, the day of the accident, and you're going to tell yourself you're going to get in this accident. Now you have to explain to yourself, this is going to happen to you. It's going to be deeply traumatizing. It's going to be extremely painful. You have to tell yourself something, though. You're going to meet yourself. What are you going to say? And I told myself, I tell myself it's going to suck, but you can be proud of how you handled it, and it's going to be altogether something that makes you stronger. And you're going to be okay. And that then turned into power. Then when I saw the motorcycles on, Instagram, or when I thought about the accident, it instantly changed it for me, from trauma and scare and being scared and this and that to pride in a centered way, not like, shitty pride. It was just like, you handled it. I'm not scared of it anymore. You were able to do it. So anybody listening that's been through some shit, I really invite you. This was really helpful. My buddy Richard Mall, he's a hypnotherapist, helped me with this. Shout out to Rich. And so if you've been through something fucked up, go back, see yourself now safe. Imagine yourself going back to you then, right before it was going to happen, the day of, whatever. See yourself in the room where you were. Remember where you were. And tell yourself what you're going to go through. But then also let yourself know that now you're okay. Yeah. And that you're going to go through this and you're going to be a strong person by the end of it. And that'll help change what happened to you for you.
Beautiful. 2 more questions. Imaginary situation. I'm trying that question. It worked one time, didn't work the other time. Let's try it. Aren, if it works, we're going to keep it. Imaginary situation. You have kids and you're on your deathbed and you need to pass one thing to them before you die. What would it be?
Live from the heart. Yeah, absolutely. Like live from, connect to your heart as deep as you possibly can. The path of the heart is the worthy path worth walking. That might not lead you to all this egoic bullshit. You don't need a BMW. It's nice to have one, but if you live from the heart, you'll be happy with the BMW, and you won't want the newest one, and your one sucks when it comes out. You're just happy with who you are, and that comes with loving yourself first. So living from the heart really means loving people, not being afraid to love, not being afraid to tell people you love them, not being able to show people you love them, not being able to actually act out your heart's desires, and being a softer person than you think you need to be in the times when it comes to really being genuine and authentic and caring and loving and kind. That's the way to live.
Beautiful. We're going to keep the question. I love the answer, so the question is going to stay. The last question that I ask these days is, according to Aren Bahia, how to live a happy and fulfilling life.
I actually am writing a program right now on how to live a big full life, right? And I was writing it today, and so it's really fresh on my mind. And it came with a few pillars of what we need to be doing something that challenges us. There's got to be a goal. We got to be doing something. Build something. Have purpose is the number one thing. We need to have purpose. It has to be something you care about. That's not just about something low level, basic desires. We got to be doing something helping people. We want to build some sort of legacy that hey, look, I did this, and you're proud of what you did. Not in an egoic state, but you actually contributed to society, and you loved fearlessly. That you knew you came here and you used up all your heart's love before you died. You went for it and you gave as much love as you possibly had. Luckily, it's usually an upper-ending supply, but you really lived from your heart as much as you can. To live a big and an amazing full life, it means to fully love, to fully serve, to live life to the fullest. Have as many experiences as you can, and love your experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Wow, beautiful. Those are all my questions. I really appreciate you finding your time. Before we go, how people find more about what you're currently doing, if you have anything on your mind that people can check out.
Sure. I mean, as usual, my Instagram, ink_pray_love, ink_pray_love. That's my easiest way to get in contact with me. Shoot me a message. Let me know how you like the podcast. I answer my messages.
It is amazing.
Thank you. I got my coaching programs going right now. I love to mentor one-on-one people. I really enjoy mentoring and coaching entrepreneurs to how to handle the success that's coming their way with mindful techniques to be a better boss and live in a more heart-centered space. And that always makes them more money. It really does. They launch forward in their production and life and quality of life when they're more heart-centered and connected to them. And it's not a bunch of fluffy bullshit. It's a lot of just hardcore mindfulness techniques, like good things. And I'm writing my book. Check out my podcast, Ink Pray Love podcast, and my book should be coming out next year. I'm working on it.
Beautiful. Thank you, Aren. Really appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure, Brent. It's always a good time to come out, and I'm happy I made time for it. It was a crunchy time, but I'm stoked I got to be here, and I hope everybody listening really got something gold out of this. I hope so.
They definitely did. I definitely did. I'm super inspired.
Cool.
Thank you. For everybody listening, you guys know where to find us. Talk to you next one. Bye-bye.